Welcome to This Week in Sim Racing, September 16th edition. I'm Jessica Lopez.
And I'm Sean Cole.
And This Week in Sim Racing is sponsored by iRacing,
where you can get 3 months for the price of one by heading over to our website and clicking on any of the iRacing banners you see there, and you can take advantage of that offer.
All right, well, what do we got here?
We have new, I want to call them teases, but these are like almost here, so it's not going to be a tease very long. You know we've been teasing the Club Sport wheel, but now we have the Forza Motorsport CSR wheel, and this is one of my new favorite wheels. I mean, I haven't fully tested it yet, but it's very similar to a GT2 in the base, but it's got the new wheel on it, which is quite a bit stiffer and gives me some quicker response time. So far I'm really loving that wheel. It's $249, and it is going to be available very soon. So we knew Fanatec was going to take any orders till they are ready to go, and I hear they're like unloading practically. So we also have the CSR Elite pedals, and these are really amazing. I think we've mentioned them on the show, but these people haven't really talked about these much, and they're really cool. You have a modular design, meaning that I can actually take this whole thing apart and mount the pedals anywhere to anything I want. So that's kind of cool. There's also an accessory kit that would allow me to invert mount them on this stand, which is also very cool. And the other thing, and maybe the best thing of all, is these are actually a load cell pedal set. So at $149.95, you're actually getting a load cell performance, well, a load cell pedal set, which I've never heard of anything at that price point.
All right. You're a little excited there. Why don't you slow down and tell us a little bit about these?
I will try to slow down, but I am very excited. These are the CSR shifters, and you might have seen what looked like these before, but they've got a complete makeover, and it's not just cosmetic. The new gloss finish is very cool. The metal knob gives this a completely different feel, very sturdy feel. And this shifter set, which is a sequential and the 6-speed plus reverse shifter, $59.95, and are also going to be available almost immediately.
Both at the same price?
Yeah, it comes as a kit, but they're for shifting, not for smelling.
I like the smell of plastic, by the way, for those of you out there that have never heard that.
So you're a little excited about them as well.
I am excited about them. And these are available almost immediately, as Sean stated. A couple shows back, we talked about the pricing on these products, how the Euro and the US price was exactly the same. And we made a little mistake on that.
Yeah, you know, we know how taxes work here and shipping costs, but VAT for in Europe is the way they do it there. And the way it works basically is Thomas has set a price. Here in America, we're going to pay additional in tax. However, in Europe, the VAT, which is similar to tax, I'm not going to go into detail, is included in the price. So it's sort of its own way of adjusting for pricing, and it does make it pretty similar pricing regardless of where you're coming from.
So although something might be the same exact price in Euro and American, technically they're not paying more. It's just, it about averages out.
Pretty close to it.
All right, well, we're sorry for that mistake that we made. We're going to move forward and talk about upcoming title rFactor 2 by ImageSpace Incorporated. They've released the system requirements for that upcoming sim. The requirements are significantly higher than those for rFactor, which was released 6 years ago. You're going to need a minimum of 2.4 gigahertz dual-core processors, 2 gigabytes of RAM. For a video card, you'll need an NVIDIA 8600 or ATI 3850 or better. rFactor 2 will introduce various improvements to the modding-friendly simulation, including weather, driver animations, and a refined graphics engine alongside plenty of current and historic motor racing content. In a recent blog, ISI's Tim Wheatley hinted for an upcoming beta testing for rFactor 2, so looks like it might be coming sooner than we know it.
Absolutely. Between system requirements and a potential open beta, this is getting close and 6 years in the making, so people are very excited. You know, one thing about rFactor is it's all about the community. It's about the mods that were made for rFactor that made it so great, and with rFactor 2, we're going to see the same thing, but we still have more rFactor mods coming out. So this week we had Solitude 64 coming out, and that's a track that's going to be for rFactor, Race 07, GTR2, and GT Legends. The original track was done by Martin GPLEA, and the conversion, modification, and improvements were done by Neil Yanni, who has added some new trackside objects and textures. The track is named after the Solitude Castle in Germany, and it's 11.4 kilometers long, which means it's a long way around and tough to learn this track.
All right, well, get out there and do some racing on rFactor. It's time now to do a race recap of NASCAR iRacing.com World Championship Series that headed to round 16 of 18 at Texas Motor Speedway. Points going into the race, Ray Alfala has a 41-point lead over Thomas Hazard. After qualifying, Josh Parker found himself on the pole with a lap time of 28.21, with John Gorlinski on the outside of the pole with a 28.22, followed by Brad Davies and points leader Ray Alfalla in fourth. The World Championship drivers had a tough time getting things going with a handful of cautions early on, but late in the race, Ray Alfalla took the advantage of a long green flag run and stayed out while others pitted, with a perfectly timed caution that allowed Alfalla to fuel up and drive onto a relatively easy win.
Out of 4, and Ray Alfalla storms to victory at the Texas Motor Speedway. John Gorlinski will come home in second. Steve Sheehan, Brad Davies, and Brian Blackford complete your top 5.
This is Ray Alfalla's third win of the season, which puts him in a pretty good position to win the championship next week, as long as he finishes at 21st or better.
I can't believe he only has 3 wins this year. I mean, it's been such a dominating year for him. You'd think he'd rack them up. I mean, 3's a lot of wins, but still, every week it seems like Ray Alfalla's on front of the lead. So anyway, that's going to do it for the first half of the show. When we return, we have one of my all-time favorite sim rigs of the week, and can't wait to see this one.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number 1 on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Welcome back to the show, guys. It's time now for the rig of the week. And this one was taken straight from our forums, and it's a Tyrrell P34 replica cockpit by Remco Hitman from the Netherlands. Remco started sim racing in 1997 with just a keyboard. He later progressed to a Thrustmaster T2, then to a Ferrari force feedback wheel, and now uses a G25. He built an aluminum frame to house this G25 and a pedal set and shifter. Remco got inspired by watching a video of an old Tyrrell 6-wheeler around Monaco in 1977. He says it fit the bill because of its simple technology, cramped cockpit, and forced right foot braking, heel-toe shifting. Remco wanted every detail to be perfect. He would need to build a tub, seat, a frame, new pedals, and a shifter. He used steel for the frame and pedals, and aluminum for the tub, and fiberglass for the seat. Now he just needed to learn how to weld. Based on a picture he had of a P34, he uploaded that into Photoshop and assumed the sizes of the steering rod and the pedals based on the driver's shoe size. Remco had some previous experience with fiberglass and used that to his advantage. He calls it a perfect rig because of its open and flat surface. He built everything by hand, including the pedals, shifter, and fiberglass seat. He designed and built his own H shifter, which he mentioned was super affordable and easy to build. He has a love for old cars and started driving F1 and rally games, and now loves to drive Grand Prix Legends and various R-Factor mods. Remco has spent an estimated 300 hours working on this rig and 3 years and 2,500 euro all going into this rig.
And you know, we don't normally do work in progress rigs, but this one is just so cool. I mean, this is nicer than commercial rigs. I see people charging thousands and thousands of dollars for something this nice, and we're talking like a full-scale model. I mean, it's insane. And he's not even done. I mean, he's got a Leo Bodner force feedback wheel on the way, I hear, so it keeps going, and definitely stay in touch. We want to see this as it finishes up.
And thank you, Remco, for sharing that rig with us. We think it's absolutely beautiful, and like Sean says, keep us updated on its progress.
Absolutely. So next up on the show is Netcar 1.3. So they've released a new version of the sim. They've endured months of beta testing to conclude this final version of the sim with improved multiplayer code, better collision models, and brand new vintage replica GT car with semi-slick tires.
There's also non-linear brake settings for professional pedal boards and added handbrake on the wheel button. If you're interested in checking out Netcar Pro, you can download a demo version at their website. If you'd like to purchase it, it's about €14.90, which equates to about $20 US. And if you already own Netcar Pro, the update is absolutely free.
And I got to tell you, if you haven't bought it already, that is the best deal in all of sim racing, because you're not going to find a finer sim for the money. So speaking of great sims, the iRacing NVIDIA Grand Prix Series headed to Road America for round 15 of 18, and we still have a major battle for the championship going on. Despite leading the points for most of the season, Klaus Kivakis had turned the lead over to teammate Hugo Louis with 2 terrible races in a row. During qualifying, Gregor Hutu took the pole for the event, and as things went green, he had another rough start as Louis drove to the front. And only a few corners later, Hutu had an off-track excursion and came back onto the track collecting Atzi Kirchhoff, a pro that was making an appearance in the series. As the race progressed, Hutu made his way towards the front again and within striking distance of Louis. However, he then ducked onto pit lane for his final pit stop of the day. As the race got closer to the end, once again Hutu would be on the charge, each lap getting closer to Louis. But the laps and time would run out on Hutu.
Just over 2.5 seconds over Gregor Hutu.
Yep, 2.4 seconds the gap between Hugo and Gregor. Hugo Louis out in front. Oh, Gregor dropped it down to 2.1 seconds.
1.8 seconds separates the leaders right now. Hugo Louis leading the way, followed by Gregor Hutu. Gregor on a charge. Gonna make it interesting.
Time on the leader, Hugo Louis, out in front now, 1.5 seconds back as they're going through the carousel. 1.3 the gap now, Darren.
And he had to settle for second place as Hugo Louis continued on for the win.
1.5 seconds, Hugo actually expanded that gap. So just managing the race here between him and Gregor, and it looks like this is Hugo's race to lose. No mistakes from here on out. And he's gonna have coming up to the line here, Darren.
Hugo Louis, 4th win of the season. Right now our points leader takes the Road America Grand Prix.
So with only a few races left in the season, Louis holds a 55-point lead over defending champ Gregor Hutu. The series will head to Okayama next week, and you can catch that race on PSR TV.
Yes, you can. All right, that's going to wrap up this week in Sim Racing, September 16th edition. We hope that you've enjoyed the show. Make sure you check out our website, InsideSimRacing.tv, and register as a member there so you can join in on the forums and perhaps post your rig if you have one you'd like to share.
Please do. Very cool rigs out there, and we're going to keep featuring them on the show, so if you want your scene, post it in our forum.
And thank you also to Remco and all of the other participants who've responded very quickly when I email them and let them know that their rig will be featured.
Yeah.
Great response. Also, for any of the links associated with what we talked about on today's show, we will have those in the description here on YouTube. So if you're interested in anything, you know where to go.
Absolutely.
That's going to wrap things up. I'm Jessica Lopez.
Sean Cole.
Checker flag is out, and so are we.